real interesting letter on my Ask Warren. And by the way, you can send me questions. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to answer them all, but I'll try to get to as many as I can. This was kind of interesting, and let me share it with you. It comes from Kristen. Warren, I have a rescued Spaniel, approximately 5 years old, who was left behind as his family moved out of their house. Whenever we go to the dog park or on walks, Dexter barks and growls at every human and their pets. Dexter goes into the dog park growling and barking and never quiets the entire time we're there. People leave the park because of his constant shrill-sounding bark. On walks, there's nothing that goes by that Dexter will not bark or growl at. Please advise. This behavior is very tiring. I don't know how to help Dexter. Well, first of all, let's not blame Dexter for that behavior. Let's blame the people that moved and left Dexter behind for no apparent reason, or whatever reason they thought was legitimate. It's a 5-year-old dog. I don't know about his background. Was he really stimulated a lot by the people? Was he let loose in the backyard? Was he the type of dog that they let loose around in the neighborhood? Was he chasing squirrels, chasing other dogs, chasing people when he got yelled at? We don't know what his behavior was like before you got him. So the behavior now that you're experiencing that's bothering you, when I understand it, what you're doing by correcting him is actually reinforcing that behavior. Every time he's going nuts at the doggy park or barking when people go by and you react by saying, knock it off, be quiet, Dexter, you're driving me crazy, the problem is you're reinforcing that behavior. Dogs often bark, and when their guardians tell them no and start yelling, it encourages the dog. The dog assumes that their guardian is barking alongside of him and joining in with the group bark. That's number one. Number two, paying a tremendous amount of attention to it is also not a good idea. So if the dog is being bad, and again, you're paying no, you're paying a lot of attention, and dogs respond to negative attention or positive attention. It makes no difference. Here's the bottom line. My heart breaks for poor Dexter. I'm telling you what Dexter's going through right now. Dexter has abandonment issues, number one. Number two is when he does something wrong, it sounds to me from the letter, nowhere in here do I hear that you've done any type of basic training. So how do you communicate with Dexter? Is everything Dexter does at the doggy park, and when you take him for a walk and he sees somebody down the street, again, is it no? First of all, let's take some time, even though he's 5 years old, and let's do some basic training. I could care whether he sits, stays, or lies down, or speaks 3 languages. The basic premise for training is it gives the guardian like you a positive way to communicate with the dog. Right now, if he's doing something wrong, it's no Dexter or Dexter no. If he knew what sit, stay, or come or down meant, you'd have a positive way to communicate him and at least have an 85% chance that he's going to respond to you. So that's number one. Basic obedience can really calm a dog down. Then what I would recommend is rather than taking and all of a sudden flooding him at the dog park, back off a little bit. Maybe go for a walk with his other dogs 20 yards away or down the block. And as you're walking, if Dexter starts reacting, ignore it. Don't say no, don't yell and scream, because what you're doing at that point, as I said, you're reinforcing it. Continue walking. And when you get past the situation and Dexter calms down, then he gets a tremendous amount of praise. But wait a couple of minutes, not right afterwards, because he's thinking he's getting praise for barking. So wait a couple of minutes, then give him a lot of praise. You know what, Dexter? Good boy, you're nice and calm now. Again, so here's what I'm going to advise that you do. Number one, this is not a Dexter problem or a problem dog. How do you resolve it? Dexter has a problem, and let me just say my heart goes out to you. Bless you for taking Dexter in. But I want you to resolve this issue. Some good basic training, more socialization, one-on-one basis, maybe introducing him to people in front of your house that you know, one at a time, 2 at a time. When they come, they already know Dexter's name, they have a toy, whatever. Build it up a little bit at a time, and I promise you Dexter will come around. I've rescued probably hundreds of dogs that came out of abandonment situations like Dexter with similar problems. They would overreact. They never had the mental stimulation, or they were overly stimulated where they were before, and then they lost it for whatever reason. But with consistency, some good basic training, really positive. I don't want none of this negative nonsense. Real positive, upbeat training. Make it fun. Start out for 10, 15 minutes at a time, maybe a couple of times a day. Always end on a positive note. And I promise you, consistent work on your part, a little patience will go a long way. And ultimately, I assure you that you and Dexter will enjoy going to the park together. Thank you for writing to me. I appreciate that, Kristen. And again, thank you for adopting Dexter. And don't forget to listen to The Pet Show. Or if you need more advice, check in at thepetshow.com.